Toy Freaks was one of YouTube's most watched family channels. Run by Gregory Chisholm, a single father from Granite City, Illinois, the channel featured his 2 young daughters, both under the age of 10, participating in what were marketed as pranks and skits. But to many viewers, the content felt anything but playful. Instead, it crossed the line into something more unsettling, with children in distress, discomfort, and degradation, all under the guise of entertainment. In one clip, Chisholm drops a live frog into a bathtub where his daughters, dressed in swimsuits, are sitting. One recoiled in fear as the animal splashed in the water. In another, the older sister feeds her sibling spoonfuls of baby food, then dramatically spits it back into a bowl in close-up. There were also recurring themes, the girls acting like infants, crawling, crying, and pretending to soil themselves. In November 2017, writer and artist James Brittle published a now famous Medium article calling attention to Toy Freaks. Was this content simply tasteless, or something closer to exploitation? The videos, he wrote, featured the children vomiting and in pain. The line between performance and actual trauma had become impossible to define, and millions were watching. Shortly after Brittle's article, media coverage exploded. BuzzFeed News and NBC reported on the channel, with clips preserved by journalists showing the discomfort of the children, often crying or visibly distressed. Around the same time, YouTube updated its community guidelines, adding new language to address children endangerment and inappropriate content featuring minors. Within days, Toy Freaks was gone. At the time of deletion, the channel had more than 8.5 million subscribers, and ranked among the top 100 most viewed YouTube accounts globally. In a statement emailed to NBC, Chisholm claimed he hadn't known his videos were being shown on the YouTube Kids app, and insisted that YouTube's revised policy was responsible for the termination, but by that point, the damage was done both to the channel and potentially to the children involved. Child development experts expressed concern about the long-term psychological effects of turning moments of fear or humiliation into viral content. Alexander Emmerich Jones is one of the internet's most notorious figures, part media mogul, part megaphone for conspiracy, and entirely a cultural representation of an age where digital misinformation can be monetized like merchandise. From his Austin-based bunker studio, Jones built a multi-million-dollar empire on fear, outrage, and distortion. His show, The Alex Jones Show, broadcast for years through the Genesis Communications network, became a pipeline for conspiracy theories, hate speech, and performative anger. At the heart of Jones's empire was InfoWars, a media platform that took it upon itself to be an alternative news source. Since its founding in 1999, InfoWars has pushed unfounded theories about everything, from government-run weather machines to the claim that higher-ups are turning frogs gay. But it wasn't until Jones turned his sights on real-life tragedy, especially mass shootings, that the consequences caught up with him. His most infamous claim came after the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, where 20 children and 6 adults were killed. Jones repeatedly told his millions of viewers that the massacre was a false flag operation staged by crisis actors to promote gun control. Families of the victims, already shattered by unspeakable grief, were subjected to years of harassment and threats from Jones's followers, some of whom showed up at victims' gravesites, demanding proof the children had ever existed. Eventually, even the internet's most tolerant platforms had enough. In August 2018, YouTube, Facebook, Apple, and Spotify all banned Jones and InfoWars for repeated violations of their hate speech and harassment policies. The trigger was a mix of mounting pressure and fresh violations, among them spreading lies about the Parkland school shooting and directing viewers to ban live streams via alt accounts. When users violate these policies repeatedly, YouTube said at the time, "We terminate their accounts." By then, Jones had lost more than just his platform. He lost his public legitimacy. In October 2022, 2 juries, one in Texas, the other in Connecticut, ordered Jones to pay nearly $1.5 billion to Sandy Hook victims' families and a first responder. On December 2, 2022, Alex Jones filed for personal bankruptcy. The empire built on rage and misinformation had finally imploded under the weight of the very real pain it caused. If your childhood was consumed by a screen in the early days of YouTube, chances are you had that one comfort channel. For some, it was LD Shadow Lady. For others, Jenna Marbles, but for millions of young girls, it was 7SuperGirls, a wildly popular channel that featured 7 tweens and teens, uploading cheerful, scripted videos each day of the week. Behind the wholesome facade, however, was a darker truth that would only come to light years later. 7SuperGirls was the flagship of a larger YouTube franchise called 7 Awesome Kids, founded by Ian Rylett, a 55-year-old man based in Florida. Launched in 2008, the franchise included multiple spin-off channels, altogether amassing nearly 20 million subscribers and over 5 billion views. Rylett paid the girls monthly to appear in his scripted videos that were written, directed, and edited entirely by him. In August 2018, Rylett was arrested at a hotel near Walt Disney World after a teenager who had been recruited to appear in one of his videos accused him of sexual abuse. Following Rylett's arrest, YouTube's response was subdued. The company initially demonetized its channels, removing their ad revenue, but allowed the content to remain online. It wasn't until Rylett entered a guilty plea that YouTube finally terminated the channels, including 7SuperGirls. Rylett's network had operated under the radar for nearly a decade, with children as its public face and a man facing abuse allegations behind the camera. Tyler Millard, known online as Simeon Jimmy, and formerly as Mumkey Jones, is a YouTube-era legend who built his platform on politically incorrect satire, edgy commentary, and true crime content that often danced over the line of YouTube's community guidelines. He rose to prominence in 2016 with videos dissecting the life of spree killer Elliot Rodger, content that was as popular as it was controversial. He gained a pretty substantial following, but not without friction. In early 2017, Mumkey got 2 community guideline strikes. Just hours after uploading Mumkey's declassified Sharia law survival guide, his main channel was terminated for hate speech. Oddly enough, a YouTube trusted flagger named Ben restored the channel days later, temporarily giving him a second chance, but that didn't last long. On December 11, 2018, Mumkey's channel was permanently terminated, wiping out his content and halting his rise overnight. Officially, the reason was repeated violations of YouTube's policies, but many pointed to his Rodger videos, which included reading from the killer's manifesto and celebrating Retribution Day as the final straw. While some defended his content as edgy social commentary, others saw it as glamorization, and YouTube didn't hesitate. What followed was the beginning of a very public meltdown. Behind the camera, Millard's personal life imploded. He admitted to cheating on his long-term partner, Sheepover, with a woman who later confessed to having dated a minor. Despite community backlash, he continued the relationship, costing him major trust with fans and collaborators alike. Then came a self-leaked sex tape, admissions of drug use, and increasingly erratic uploads. Suddenly, it wasn't just about censorship, it was about whether Mumkey could survive his own self-sabotage. In defiance, Millard reinvented himself as Simeon Jimmy, launching new YouTube channels and reviving dead formats. Patreon support, Twitch streams, and frequent collaborations with online oddballs, Millard stabilized his career. Today, Simeon Jimmy exists in the weird middle ground of cancelled creators, too fringe for mainstream platforms, but too notorious to fully disappear. Calvin Lee Vale, better known as LeafyIsHere, was once a household name in YouTube's early commentary scene, one of the loudest, most controversial voices to come out of the platform's unregulated Wild West years. Known for his faceless videos where he delivered cynical commentary over Counter-Strike Global Offense Surf gameplay, Leafy helped define an entire era of YouTube culture. His content was aggressive, punchy, and unapologetically inflammatory. He went after anyone, large creators, niche channels, streamers, and built a fanbase by pushing boundaries, often to the point of cyberbullying. Starting in 2016, Leafy became a magnet for controversy. He mocked appearances, made very rude insults, and encouraged his audience to brigade creators he targeted. His long-running feud with Pokimane is a typical example. Leafy accused her of hypocrisy, attacked her personal life, and stirred up harassment campaigns. At the time, he argued it was just content. YouTube saw it differently. In August 2020, after years of skirting the platform's vague moderation lines, Leafy's main channel was permanently terminated for repeated violations of YouTube's newly revised harassment policy. The final straw reportedly included multiple videos that crossed into malicious insults, mockery based on physical appearance, and encouraging disruption of other creators' live streams. Notably, YouTube stated that Leafy had accumulated at least 3 strikes in 90 days, and that his content was designed to harass, bully, or threaten. He claimed he received no advance warning. In a follow-up interview on Drama Alert with Keemstar, Leafy insisted he was blindsided and speculated along with his fans that YouTubers like Pokimane or Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions had something to do with it, although both denied any involvement. After the ban, Leafy quickly switched to a backup channel, LeafyIsHere, where he posted reaction videos to his own cancellation. That didn't last long. Within 48 hours, the second channel was also terminated for ban evasion, citing YouTube's enforcement policy that prevents permanently banned creators from returning under alternate accounts. Following his deplatforming from YouTube, Leafy attempted to move to Rumble, although he never replicated the same level of influence. Jason Matthew Ethier, better known online as JayStation, was once one of Canada's most watched YouTubers, known for producing controversial, shock value content that often walked the line between tasteless and exploitative. His rise to fame was fueled by overnight challenge videos, 24-hour stay-ins, 3 a.m. rituals, and self-staged paranormal encounters that turned death and tragedy into YouTube spectacle. But like many creators who built their channels on viral outrage, Ethier's online persona eventually became too toxic for the platform that enabled him. Ethier began posting content in 2015, initially gaining popularity through overnight 24-hour challenges, where he claimed to trespass into abandoned homes, shopping malls, and stadiums. Many of these videos were later revealed to be staged. Still, the shock factor worked, until it didn't. In November 2016, he was charged with 5 counts of trespassing by Ottawa police. JayStation's reputation truly exploded through his so-called 3 a.m. challenge videos, where he claimed to contact the dead using Ouija boards or ritualistic items, often shortly after a celebrity had passed away. Fans and critics alike were disgusted when he created monetized videos, claiming to speak to deceased stars like Mac Miller and XXXTentacion, a line many felt should never be crossed. But the breaking point came in January 2020, when Ethier faked the death of his then-girlfriend, Alexia Morano, for YouTube clout. In a now-deleted video, Ethier cried on camera claiming she had died in a drunk driving accident. 4 days later, he admitted it was a hoax intended to boost subscribers to their joint channel, Dream Team. The backlash was immediate and severe. Morano later stated in her own video that she was uncomfortable with the stunt, never consented to it, and left him immediately afterward. In the wake of the controversy, YouTube demonetized his main channel. Ethier then began uploading to a secondary channel titled 666, originally shared with Morano, to circumvent the punishment, a move YouTube saw as ban evasion. On March 12, 2021, both of his channels were terminated. Ethier responded by threatening legal action against the platform. But YouTube's decision was not just about policy violations on paper. Around the same time, Ethier was arrested on February 3, 2021 for assault and assault with a weapon, charges tied to the fallout with Morano. YouTube cited its 2018 creator responsibility policy, introduced after the Logan Paul scandal, which allows for punishment based on a creator's overall conduct, even if it doesn't directly violate content guidelines. In Ethier's case, the cumulative weight of fake deaths, legal issues, and public endangerment proved too much for the platform to ignore. ItsOwen was once a household name on Fortnite YouTube, one of the many young creators who understood how to play the algorithm better than the game itself. He built his empire on flashy thumbnails, loud titles, and content that blurred the line between entertainment and manipulation. At his peak, he amassed over 3.5 million subscribers, but like many who chase virality without boundaries, he ended up crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. His channel specialized in top 5s, Fortnite skins, predictions, and occasional drama bait. But Owen wasn't new to controversy. Before his rise, he ran another channel with over 60,000 subscribers, terminated for behavior that YouTube flagged as spamming, clickbaiting, and scamming. Still, when the new ItsOwen channel took off, he kept the same playbook of misleading titles, exaggerated reactions, and manufactured moments designed to game the system. In July 2022, after the tragic death of Minecraft legend Technoblade, Owen uploaded a video that would permanently end his YouTube career. The thumbnail featured Mr. Beast, and the title led viewers to believe they were clicking on a heartfelt farewell to Technoblade. In reality, the video had no such tribute, no message from Mr. Beast, and barely acknowledged Technoblade at all. It was a cheap, tasteless cash-in on grief, meant to capture attention while millions of fans were still mourning. The backlash was merciless. Viewers flooded the comments. social media erupted, and Owen's credibility, already shaky, completely imploded. Many accused him of exploiting death for views and using Technoblade's passing as SEO bait. YouTube terminated his channel, citing violations of their explicit content and deceptive practices policies. In a public plea to Team YouTube on Twitter, Owen claimed to be depressed without his content and begged for reinstatement, but the ban was final. Even before the Technoblade incident, Owen had faked a dream face reveal, spread misinformation about other creators, and was repeatedly called out for using other people's names and deaths to fuel his own numbers. At a time when platforms are under pressure to moderate more aggressively, Owen became an example of what not to do, but what happens when you keep doing it anyway. At the height of her popularity, Jocelyn Hoffman, known online as YosStoP, was a dominant figure in Mexico's digital creator space. Her content earned her millions of subscribers and a household name status in Latin American YouTube culture. But by 2021, her career would come to a screeching halt, not from burnout or a shifting algorithm, but from a criminal investigation. In June 2021, Hoffman was arrested at her home in Mexico City on charges of child exploitative content. The case came from a video she had received, watched, and then publicly discussed on her YouTube channel, a recording from 2018, where a group of 4 men were committing non-consensual sex on a 16-year-old girl. Instead of reporting the video or showing sympathy for the victim, Hoffman went on to blame the teen, referring to her in a YouTube video as a whore, and implying that the assault had been her own fault. This was public character assassination, using a real victim's trauma as content. The victim filed a formal complaint in early 2021, naming not only the perpetrators of the non-consensual sex act, but also Hoffman for possessing and distributing material depicting the assault. While several people were implicated in the complaint, Hoffman was the only one initially arrested. The arrest ignited widespread media coverage, dividing public opinion. Some clung to the defense of free expression, but many more, like activists, journalists, and fellow creators, pointed to a much bigger issue, which is a culture of victim blaming and shock content in influencer media. YouTube took swift action, permanently terminating both of her channels, citing violations of their child safety and explicit content policies. Her platform was effectively wiped clean. However, this wasn't YosStoP's first encounter with controversy. Her online persona thrived on confrontation, but this time, the stakes were legal and deeply moral. By late 2021, Hoffman struck a plea agreement. Rather than face trial and a potential sentence of up to 14 years, she agreed to conditions including public apologies, therapy, and education around gender-based violence. She was released from prison in December 2021. Though she attempted a quiet return via TikTok and other platforms, her online presence has never fully recovered. Steven DeLeonardis, known online as SteveWillDoIt, built his brand on excess. Drinking challenges, over-the-top stunts, and million-dollar giveaways were the power source of his rise. Affiliated with the infamous Nelk Boys, Steve wasn't just another YouTuber, he was the guy who made insane a genre, and it worked for a while. The numbers spoke for themselves with millions of subscribers, brand deals, and a cult-like loyalty that translated into real-life influence. But YouTube fame comes with a fine print, and in Steve's case, the price was heavy. On August 1st, 2022, YouTube permanently terminated not just his main channel, but also his second and shorts channels. The reason was a gambling URL, specifically for Stake, a crypto casino he frequently promoted in his off-platform content. The URL had accidentally been left unblurred in one video by his editor. The video was taken down almost immediately, but the damage was done. YouTube cited policy violations around the promotion of regulated goods, gambling in this case, and cut ties. What made the situation worse was the inconsistency. Steve pointed out that Nelk, the group he was most associated with, was still uploading full 1-minute Stake ads in their videos with no consequences. "I can't be a Nelk or have a YouTube, but Nelk can run a 1-minute Stake ad," he said publicly, calling out YouTube's uneven enforcement. Whether that was fair criticism or just frustration, many agreed that the rules seemed blurry, and Steve got the short end of them. With that being said, Steve's influence hasn't entirely disappeared. Like many deplatform creators, he moved to Rumble, maintaining a loyal following on Instagram, and continues to appear in Nelk-adjacent content without being the face. He also teased future plans, hinting at diversification, and ironically, more brand building. FuturisticHub was once a widely recognized name in the world of Minecraft animation, known for pushing the boundaries of what passed as kid-friendly on YouTube. Run by Brian Martin, FuturisticHub built its following on flashy, fast-paced 3D CGI animation, featuring crossover content from Mario, Sonic, Baldi, Michael Myers, and other pop culture icons, all reimagined inside the Minecraft universe. But despite the colorful aesthetic and familiar characters, the content quickly raised eyebrows. At its peak in May 2019, the channel had over 3.3 million subscribers, making it one of the top 20 Minecraft animation channels on the platform. Videos were promoted as suitable for everyone, while simultaneously featuring sexually suggestive themes, explicit fetish content, and even disturbing comedic depictions of violence and abuse. One of the most controversial uploads was a now deleted video titled Needed in Minecraft, which contained graphic sexual content rendered in full 3D and was uploaded without any age restriction. Allegedly, the video even made it into the YouTube Kids platform, initiating outrage and renewed concern about YouTube's algorithmic failure to police inappropriate content masquerading as child-friendly. Despite the backlash, many of these types of videos remain online for months, some even years. As critics began to speak out, those who publicly condemned FuturisticHub's content claimed they were stalked, doxxed, and harassed by the creator behind the channel. Several YouTubers reported that personal information, including phone numbers, addresses, and family details, was posted online after they criticized the animations or their creator's behavior. The creator often deflected criticism by simultaneously claiming that the channel was not made for children, while continuing to use titles, thumbnails, and characters clearly aimed at a younger demographic. The platform's response was slow. For years, FuturisticHub remained active, its subscriber base intact, its videos monetized. Only after repeated waves of outrage and reporting did YouTube begin removing individual videos. But by early 2023, the entire FuturisticHub channel disappeared from the platform. In 2021, YouTube quietly removed one of its most watched children's animation channels, Super JoJo. At the time of its deletion, the channel had approximately 22 million subscribers, placing it among the top 25 animation channels on the platform. The takedown did not come with a flashy public announcement, but with a single explanation: multiple third-party copyright claims. The story behind that explanation pointed to a full-blown intellectual property war in the billion-dollar kids content market. The removal of Super JoJo came on the heels of a copyright infringement lawsuit filed in California federal court by Moonbug Entertainment, the London-based parent company of CoComelon, the most subscribed children's animation channel on YouTube. Through its US subsidiary, Treasure Studio, Moonbug accused BabyBus Network Technology, the Chinese company behind Super JoJo, of running what they called a frame-by-frame imitation of CoComelon's content. The lawsuit alleged that Super JoJo had blatantly copied nearly every aspect of CoComelon's formula, from song titles and lyrics to character design, visual themes, and even entire plot lines. One example cited in the legal filing was a side-by-side comparison of the Boo Boo song, where Super JoJo's version mirrored CoComelon's down to the pacing and shot composition. Moonbug's lawyer said Super JoJo shamelessly freerides on CoComelon's success by closely copying and exploiting every possible element of the CoComelon channel. Fans had already noticed. Comments across YouTube and Reddit threads all read the same sentiment. Super JoJo is just CoComelon with a different face. In a genre where success depends on being algorithm-friendly, visually simple, and endlessly repeatable, even a small shift in traffic can translate to millions in revenue. Moonbug estimated that BabyBus had generated over $100 million in revenue in the prior year alone, most of it through YouTube ad dollars. The lawsuit also landed at a delicate time for BabyBus. The company had announced plans to go public in Hong Kong, seeking to raise $285.8 million from investors. Meanwhile, Moonbug continues to dominate the children's content space on YouTube. With the Super JoJo saga behind them, the company doubled down on protecting its IP empire, and YouTube never reinstated Super JoJo. In late 2023, an unlikely contender emerged as one of the fastest growing channels in YouTube history. Cosmo TV, a Russian creator, gained millions of subscribers per week with a uniquely simple and oddly hypnotic format. By early 2024, the channel had surged past 15 million subscribers, amassing a dedicated following almost entirely through YouTube Shorts. The videos followed the same structure, a first-person POV of someone scrolling on their iPhone, watching an unheard of YouTube short with low engagement. The person would like the video, subscribe, and comment usually with hearts, emojis, or positive affirmations. This would then transition into a visual sequence using Magic Fluid's Light, a fluid simulation app. That was it. There was no dialogue, no explanation, no creator face, just repetition, aesthetic appeal, and algorithm-friendly simplicity. What initially seemed like a low-effort trend quickly turned into an empire. Cosmo TV was gaining over 4 million subscribers a week at its peak. By some metrics, it was outpacing MrBeast and other YouTube giants in subscriber velocity. But just as suddenly as it appeared, the channel was terminated on February 29, 2024, without warning or explanation. As expected, speculation followed. Some believed Cosmo TV had abused Shorts algorithms, using automated engagement loops to artificially boost interactions. Others pointed to the lack of original content, or potential violations around spam, deceptive practices, or mass replication of low-effort videos. YouTube itself gave no official public reason. What is clear is that Cosmo TV had reached 15.3 million subscribers, and then vanished overnight. The Cosmo TV saga reignited debates about what counts as content in the Shorts era. Was it gaming the system, or understanding it better than most? Were viewers genuinely entertained, or just sucked into a feedback loop of dopamine-charged scrolling? One thing is certain, Cosmo TV didn't need a voice, a face, or a brand to dominate YouTube, just a formula. And when the algorithm changed, or the enforcement caught up, it was over just as fast. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts on any of the banned YouTubers I discussed in this video, and subscribe if you would like to see a part 2 or more videos like this one. Thank you again, and goodbye.